Welcome to a new episode of the ChileKnitz podcast. My name is Connie and I am ChileKnitz almost in all the social media platforms. As you can see, I no longer have my co-host Marcela. She and I have different projects, so we've decided to continue on our own. So I wish her the best and I hope her future endeavors go the best as they can. Anyway, it's been like forever since I recorded. I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to get to it. I've been very busy with dyeing for Barcelona Knits. It's still a work in progress, and of course, because I've been dyeing on, I have not been able to knit as much. I've been doing some knitting here and there, like the sneaky knitting. The problem is, whenever I'm knitting, I feel guilty that I'm not dyeing yarn. So I enter that sort of crazy guilt over knitting, which is insane. But at the same time, I really know that I need to like move forward and dye more yarn so that I can bring with me when I go in November. So a few of the projects that I have on the needles are, first of all, Daniel's new socks. I finished a pair of socks recently for him. He's like in love with them, and I think from now on I have like a ton of opal style yarn that I've accumulated over the years, and since I figured, like, I've knit for Danny like many things, but the sock situation is the only that he will wear and he likes, so he gets super excited when they fit and he gets so happy. And so I've decided, since I have so many socks for myself that I haven't even worn them all, I'm gonna start knitting socks for Danny, which is, well, there's two things. He has a larger foot than I do, obviously, he's very tall, and the fact that I have more sock to knit for me is like a good thing, because whenever I gather with friends, or like I'm waiting for Emma to get out of school in the car, or the waiting situation, I just like to knit socks, unless I'm working on something else that's relatively easy. Right now I'm doing color work, so really I don't really feel comfortable doing that in the car. Like, I'm not that experienced in color work, so socks for me are like the best option. And well, I cast on new ones. I'm gonna show you once I finished, when I show you my FOs, because it's my only one. So I have started these and I am super excited. Oh, by the way, change of scenery as well. I used to record in my photography studio, which is still there, but since now it's only me, I have space to record in front of the yarn, which I think is more appropriate for the theme of the podcast. As long as my children will allow me some quiet time to record, this is where I'll be. Otherwise, you'll have to be patient and see me on the other background with a crazy umbrella. So, Danny socks. I'm knitting them out. I'm knitting them 2 at a time on 2.25 millimeter needles. I like Chiago's. I like them because of the join and because the cable is quite firm. So it doesn't like make this pigtail when you're knitting, and so it doesn't tangle. Sorry, I've been interrupted a few times. Felix is here, he's got a flu and I can hear him playing upstairs, so if there's any ambient noise, I beg you guys to forgive me. This is one of the downsides of recording from home. But I like it better though. So I am using a button to separate my strands. This technique is something that a friend told me about it, Linda from Australia, if you're watching, hi. So basically this is like a visual of when your strand starts twisting, because when you knit 2 at a time, you start moving the needles like this as you go along, and so this is gonna start getting twisted. Basically the button is so you see which way it's clearer to see which way it's going, so you can untwist it and just continue on knitting. Most of the times I forget to put the button on, but if you're beginning to knit socks 2 at a time, I recommend it. I mean, it helped me up in the beginning. So, and now I just like to add it as a little like bling to my cake. This yarn is a yarn that I bought on a trip to Toronto a few years ago. There's this shop, I can't remember the name, I'm going to ask my friend Ramona to tell me, that has many different colors. I was blinded by all the amazing sock yarn they had in stock. This is not actually, I'm mistaken, this is not this. This is, oh, so yeah, I got this yarn. I would put in the down bar here the details because I didn't bring the ball band with me. And if I go upstairs, then Felix is going to see that I'm home and he's going to want to play, and then I won't be able to record. So yes, this is the yarn. I didn't know the way it was going to stripe up. To me, it's always a surprise. I try not to look at the picture in the back because some of the ball bands bring the picture of how the sock's going to knit up. I try not to look to make it more fun. And I'm really enjoying the way this is striping up because it's like I know it doesn't look like it here, I'm just gonna put a picture, but the colors are not flat, they're quite tonal. Like this green has many greens in it and the light blue has different tones, and so I'm really enjoying this knit. It doesn't feel like you know, like a big company yarn dye. It just feels like somebody hand dyed it, and this is the result because of all the tones, and I'm very happy. And I think, well, the purpose of this yarn when I bought it was always meant to be for Danny. I am hoping he likes it. He's seen the yarn and he said, oh, I like those colors, and since he was requesting neon socks, this came right up his alley. The socks that I finished are also neon, so he's gonna have a pair of neons. The only but he said of the previous socks is that he wants the leg section to be longer. I like them really short, so when I'm knitting on that part and I am going further ahead than I normally go, I start feeling a little bit nervous. I'm not sure if it's gonna look well, but for these ones I'm just gonna try to use the whole almost all the skein and then use the rest for the, try to leave no remainder of yarn. Another interruption, I'm sorry. So I had the remainder of the other socks. I think I had like 15 grams left. I'm going to try and weigh this. I'm gonna weigh the socks that I knit, and then I'm gonna weigh this to see like how much yarn I've used up. So I'm gonna sort of try and calculate how much I use for the heels. Sorry, that's Felix again. And so that I have nothing left. And then he's going to be happy with his longer socks. Yeah. The reason I don't knit longer socks is only because I normally wear jeans, but the jeans that I wear are normally like tight on the ankles, so that I can wear boots and stuff like in winter. And so when the sock's longer, you can see it through the, like the texture through the jeans, and it's just barely, it's just something that I'm not really comfortable. I don't really like the way it looks, because the knit sock has like a little bit of a heavier weight, if you will, and basically that's why. Also, I like to knit them shorter because then I can use them in the summer and in the winter. So, yay for socks. I forgot to mention, but I am using my lovely bag made by Patricia from Paradise Island. She started making these bags a while back, not really a long time ago, but a while back. She prints them by hand and obviously sews them by hand, and it's just stunning. It's white on the inside, which I like because then I can see my projects very well, and it's got a zipper in the back so you can put some notions in. I have my frog tape measure. I like tape measures with animals on them or fun shapes. So my next project is posted in my Ailema Loca bag. She's the mom of a friend that makes them in Spain. It's got my new pin on. And I picked it because it has all the countries. It's got, obviously it's got Chile in the front. That pink shape. And then in the back it's got the United States. And then inside it's got Europe. And so I picked it because I have friends all over the world that knit and we talk all the time. So it was kind of like an honor to all the people that I've met throughout my knitting years and my dyeing experiences. So this bag is made by my friend's mom, so it's very dear to me, but it's also dear to me because of the meaning it's got for me. It's also very nice because it's got a window and it's got a pocket inside. I don't know if you can see it. Here it is. It's got a button, but it's got a pocket in it. It's quite large. You can put many things. So in here, I'm hosting my Sipila project. Wait. Almost dropped it. I am using colorwork ring that I got probably like a month ago. After I knit the arboreal sweater, I decided maybe this could help because I knit continental and I did try to knit with both my fingers or even in the English way for colorwork, but it really made things really slow. So I decided to give this a try. And at the beginning it was a little bit awkward, like I wasn't really sure that I liked it very much. But as I've been using it, I think I've got the gist of it and now I'm very happy. I am going fast, but it's not as fast as like knitting stockinette, of course. Colorwork is like a new thing for me, so I'm constantly checking tension so that it doesn't scrunch up. So it makes things a little bit slower. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry. Felix is sick, and so he doesn't want to stay in bed, and he knows that I'm downstairs, and so he wants to be with me, and so it's been really hard to record this episode, but I'm gonna push through it and get it done. So this is where I am. The pattern has 49, you know, the colorwork has 49 rows. I'm going through number 39, so I'm not far away from seeing the light and starting just the stockinette section. I'm knitting it out of my nube base, which means a cloud in Spanish. It's 100% superwash merino. It's soft like a cloud, and that's why the name. I'm using my colors, and this one's called Gondola, and this one's called Flamingo Needles. And I can't wait. Seriously, I can't wait to wear this. I started using a larger needle for the colorwork. People that know about it told me that it was easier if you used a larger needle so your tension doesn't get funny. But it felt funny to me because whenever I do colorwork while I'm knitting, I'm stretching and seeing, and just that's why I take a little bit longer. And in the end, I just went back to 3.5 millimeters. Yes, which I think is a size US 4. And I'm very excited. I'm gonna put it on. Well, it's got the things there, so it looks kind of weird, but oh look, it's gonna look amazing. Can't wait. I seriously cannot wait. So I've been secretly knitting on this, like mischievously, because I should be working and then dyeing yarn, but instead I want to knit. And so it's one of those dilemmas, you know, because it's like I want to get this done before I go to Rhinebeck or Barcelona Knits. At the same time, to go there, I need to dye yarn, so it never ends. So this is my second project on the needles. I have another one, but I think it's in hibernation for now. It's my Carbeth cardigan. I am knitting that out of Malabrigo Chunky in the Jacinto colorway, so I love it. But I am a little bit stumped because I am not really enjoying I mean, the yarn is gorgeous. There's nothing I can say like badly about it, but I am not enjoying the process of knitting with chunky yarn. I used to like it before, but I think now I'm more of a tops is worsted for me. I mean, I'm gonna finish it. I love it. I want it. It's a jacket that I'll be able to wear even in the summer when the night cools down. But right now, I was so excited about this. Oh, and someone asked me about these stoppers. You can't really see it here, but they're like tiny balls of yarn. My yarn supplier sent them as a gift, but since somebody asked, I've looked for them online, and I found them on AliExpress, and they're very cheap. So if you like them, there's this size for like smaller needles, and there's like a larger yarn ball for like larger needles, and it's pink. There's no other colors, it's just green and pink. And in this case, they come in super handy. Like, I don't use them for socks or anything because I just twist the needles, but on this, like in the round colorwork and chiagos, soft yarn, everything mixed together, I mean, stitches are flying off constantly for me, and so when I put it away, I'm always using this because I'm worried that they're gonna come off again, and it's colorwork, so it's not that easy to like rip back. So those are my whips. Well, on the carpet, as I told you, it's in hibernation. I will pick it up again, I promise. And when I do, I'll let you know and show you. So, FOs. My FOs are just these socks. I am super excited because I got new sock blockers for large socks. Danny is like size 12.5, 13 foot. So even the large sock blocker is too small because the sock's not like stretched out properly. It's a little bit like loose. I knit socks for him, and he's got skinny feet because I knit. I'm not a tight knitter, but I'm also not a loose knitter. I just knit at the gauge of the needle, and I only use 64 stitches for his socks. I used to use 56 for me, but because of the elastic binder, which works, I find it's more comfortable if I knit 60. So then I don't have to like fight to get them on. Maybe I could just add those few extra stitches when I'm binding off, but it's still comfortable on my feet with 50 instead of 56, so it's okay. So 2.25 millimeter needle is what I use to knit all the socks, and I have many pairs of that number of needles in case I have to knit more than one pair of socks at a time. So I used 2.25 millimeter needles. That's, I think it's a size US 1. I don't really, like, I would have to see, but I'll write it down there just to confirm, because in Chile we say it by millimeters, so I don't have it in my mind, the immediate conversion. Yay! So that's it. That's it for my FOs. I'll post a better photo of this because I think there's a little bit too much light on the camera, but if I put it a little bit lower, it just seems too dark, so I just left it that way, and I'll put pictures of everything that I've been showing you so you can see the actual colors. So that's all my knitting. For yarn dyeing and new updates on the shop, I will use my Instagram TV because it's been, and I know it sounds silly because I've got the wall in the back, but I just thought it looked pretty. But it's not my intention to use my podcast as like a business side of things. Mainly, if other people do it, that's okay with me. But since there's 2 platforms now, I think I'm just going to allocate one for just talking to you guys about yarn and knitting and colors and my travels when I go to knitting fairs or knitting events, and then the Instagram for just showing a few different things. Now, there's not much going on besides me dyeing yarn, but I've told you before that I didn't have like a knitting group because it's not easy to find people that knit the way we knit, which is fine. I mean, I've knit with a lot of people that just knit other things that I don't knit, so they don't know how to knit shawls, and it's really good because then they see what you're knitting and they get excited and they want to try it out. And so this past month I met with a group of people that knit, and I have a friend that lives like, seriously, we were laughing about this the other day because we met through my yarn. She wanted to buy the yarn, and so she googled my address and she was like, what, this should be wrong, she's like 2 houses away from me. And so, well, that sort of gave way to us becoming friends because we get together and knit all the time. I helped her with knitting a shawl and then learning a little bit about knitting socks. And she's also a teacher, like a knitting teacher. She sort of basically quit her job and decided she was gonna teach people how to knit. And well, she has a podcast in Spanish, so if you guys speak Spanish, you can go and check it out. I'm gonna put the details here. She also has an Instagram account. She's absolutely passionate about knitting, just like I am, and so it's a pleasure to hang out with her and just be able to talk about yarn and knitting and colors and all the projects that we want to knit. So if you guys speak Spanish, go and check out her podcast. You're gonna love her. She's a sweetie. Well, so as I was telling you, I sort of started having this weekly meetings to knit with friends, which is something I really needed because I've never done it before, basically. And it's just a great time to not be guilty about knitting and relaxing and drinking some tea. And while Joanna from Time Off, she's like the most amazing cook. So she's always making some really ridiculously good cake or pastry or, you know, like something sweet. Yesterday she made brownies and they were incredible. I couldn't stop thinking about them all day long. I know it sounds silly, but it was just wow. And so I am incredibly happy to have found this amazing group of girls, women who like to knit, and we share, in spite of our age difference, we share tricks and tips, and we speak about yarn and where to find different yarns in the country. Maybe I'll just have an episode all about that. And well, I joined my friend in a knitting class. I haven't been to one in a really long time. Well, I went to Jorge's class on, you know, how to make sweaters fit you better, but it was not really a knitting class, it was more theoretical. And so now I was in this knitting class and it was really fun because I could see like different progress of different people, and they were asking me all about yarn compositions and the twist and why does the twist affect the way that it looks when it's knit up. And to be honest, I have never really given it much thought, but I discovered that I know a lot about it. And I mean, I know it sounds silly, but I didn't really know that I knew so much. And so I found myself just like answering these crazy questions a million miles a minute. And then I was like, what? Like, and so it was kind of like a really fun moment, and to just find out that throughout the time that I've been knitting and also dyeing yarn, I know more than I thought that I knew. So yeah, well, that's sort of like a little bit of a story of my past knitting experiences. I'm sorry if you can hear a little bit of noise. It's probably Felix playing upstairs. I'm drinking some water in my donut cup, mug, glass, cup. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. I hope you guys have a great week. I sincerely hope that I can record more often. Perhaps now that I'm by myself, it's gonna be harder because well, if I don't have anything to show you, maybe it's gonna get better in the future, but it's really hard for me to just like talk about anything instead of like talking about what I have to show you. So please be patient. I will try and get better at this by myself. It's kind of awkward now, but I'm really excited about this new phase in this podcast, like going back to my roots where I started podcasting by myself, and hoping that I can bring you more knitting content and tell you more stories next time I see you guys. I'm sending you a big kiss and a hug, and happy knitting. Bye!